Have you ever felt it? Even with life seemingly on track, with achievements, with people around, sometimes even moments of joy? Deep down, an unsettling feeling of emptiness? A sense that something essential is missing. A deeper why that truly flavors existence. That question that echoes in the silence of the soul. So what? Is this all there is? If this modern anguish, this deep emptiness, visits you from time to time, or perhaps has even become a constant companion, know that you are not alone on this journey. And the most important news is that there is a beacon, a powerful light from one of the greatest thinkers and survivors of the 20th century, Viktor Frankl. He not only understood this pain like no one else, but also left us a precious map, Logotherapy, or the therapy of meaning, a real and practical way for you to start filling your life with purpose and meaning, starting today. Viktor Frankl, with the authority of someone who lived and witnessed the limit of human suffering capacity, diagnosed one of the most prevalent diseases of our time, and one that seems to only be worsening in the 21st century: existential vacuum. What is this emptiness? It's not necessarily clinical depression in the traditional sense, although it can lead to it. It's more a persistent feeling of uselessness, that life has no clear purpose, a deep boredom, even amidst 1,000 activities, an apathy that corrodes the soul, a cynicism that disbelieves everything. It's as if you were hungry, but didn't know how to name what food would satisfy you. Even surrounded by things, by people, by information, the soul can feel hollow, desolate. The roots of emptiness, according to Frankl. Frankl pointed to several causes. First, unlike animals, instincts no longer dictate what we have to do. Second, unlike past eras, traditions, values, and social roles no longer tell us so clearly what we should do. So often, modern humans find themselves free, but lost. They don't know what they want to do. And this freedom, without a meaning to guide it, can become agonizing. The manifestations of emptiness. This emptiness, this frustration of our will to meaning, can manifest in various ways. In a frantic and insatiable search for pleasure, for power and status, for constant distractions, social media, shopping, excesses, or, at the other extreme, it can lead to depression, the development of addictions, aggression against oneself or others, or simply a life lived on autopilot, without sparkle in one's eyes. But Frankl didn't stop at the diagnosis. He showed us that this emptiness is not a sentence. It is, in fact, an urgent call from our soul, a cry from our will to meaning that is hungry and needs to be fed. It's impossible to talk about Viktor Frankl without mentioning, however briefly, the context that forged his philosophy. He was a brilliant Jewish psychiatrist and neurologist in Vienna when he was imprisoned by the Nazis. He spent 3 years in concentration camps like Auschwitz and Theresienstadt, where he lost his pregnant wife, his parents, and his brother. He saw the worst that human beings are capable of, but also witnessed glimpses of the best, acts of heroism, compassion, sacrifice, and the incredible ability of some to maintain their dignity and find a meaning to continue even in the most dehumanizing conditions. It was there, observing and living at the limit, that he validated and deepened his revolutionary theory, Logotherapy, which literally means healing through meaning, from the Greek logos, which for Frankl meant meaning. For Frankl, the main motivating force in human beings is not the search for pleasure, as Freud said, nor the search for power, as Adler said, but rather a deep an inextinguishable will to meaning, and it is the frustration of this will that sickens the soul. The 3 Paths of Viktor Frankl to Discover the Meaning of Your Life, a practical and profound guide. The great beauty and practicality of logotherapy lies in the fact that Frankl does not give us a ready-made recipe for what the meaning of life is. He knew that meaning is unique and specific for each person at each particular moment of their existence. It's not the meaning of life in an abstract way, but rather the meaning of my life at this exact moment in this specific situation. But he offers us a map with 3 main avenues where we can actively discover and realize this meaning. Path 1. Creating a work or performing an act, meaning in what you actively give to the world, your unique contribution. Here, meaning springs from our ability to create, build, accomplish, contribute. It's about what we, with our talents and efforts, actively offer to the world, to life, to others. Your work and vocation. Your work, your profession, even if it seems simple or routine, can be an immense source of meaning if you see it not just as a means to earn money, but as a mission, a way to serve the community, to use your talents to do something well, to solve a problem, to make someone's life easier. The how and why you work are more important than the what. Personal projects and the flame of creativity. Writing that book living in your drawer, painting a picture, composing music, learning to play an instrument, developing a volunteer project, starting a small business with purpose, planting a garden, building a fairer community, anything that requires your creative effort, your dedication, and that brings something new, beautiful, or good to the world, however small, can be a source of deep meaning. Question for today: what small task, project, or act of service can you perform today with a sense of purpose and contribution, however simple it may seem? Path 2. Experiencing something or encountering someone. Meaning in what you lovingly receive from the world and relationships. Meaning is not just in doing, but also in being and receiving. We can find deep meaning in our ability to appreciate, to connect deeply, to love and to allow ourselves to be loved, to experience what the world and others have to offer us that is good, beautiful, and true. Appreciating beauty, goodness, and truth around you. Allow yourself to contemplate a spectacular sunset without haste. Listen to music that gives you goosebumps. Read a book that transforms you and makes you see the world differently. Marvel at the beauty of nature. Witness and be inspired by an act of great kindness or courage. These are moments that touch us deeply and remind us that life, despite everything, has intrinsic beauty and value. The transformative and central power of love. For Viktor Frankl, love for another person, in its unique and unrepeatable essence, is perhaps the highest and most rewarding way to find meaning in life. He himself reported that in the darkest and most dehumanizing moments of the concentration camp, the mental image of his wife, the deep love he felt for her, gave him unimaginable inner strength and a why to keep living. Love allows us to see the deepest potential in another human being, and at the same time helps us to want to realize our own potential. Genuine and deep human connections, true friendship, the feeling of belonging to a family or community, the empathy that connects us with the pain and joy of others, all this nourishes our soul and gives us a sense that we are not alone on this journey. Question for today: to whom can you show genuine love, affection, or appreciation today? Or what beauty around you, in nature, in art, in a gesture, can you truly allow yourself to see, feel,
and absorb with all your senses. Path 3. By the attitude we take towards inevitable suffering, the indomitable strength that springs from unsurmountable adversity. This is perhaps Viktor Frankl's most shocking, most challenging, and at the same time most liberating and profoundly human teaching, born directly from his own experience at the limit of endurance. What to do when we cannot change the situation? What to do when we face suffering that we cannot avoid, that we cannot change? A serious and incurable illness, the tragic loss of someone we deeply love, a great social injustice that affects us, a severe and permanent physical limitation. Frankl tells us, with the authority of someone who lived it firsthand, that even then, even when all other freedoms are taken from us, one fundamental freedom remains, the last and most precious of human freedoms, the freedom to choose our attitude towards that suffering, the freedom to decide how we will face and respond to that situation, transforming suffering into internal achievement and testimony. We can choose to face pain with courage, with dignity, without losing our essential humanity. We can find meaning in how we carry our cross, in what our suffering can teach us, or the example we can give to others. We can transform a personal tragedy into a triumph of the human spirit, a demonstration of compassion, hope, resilience. As he brilliantly said, suffering ceases to be suffering in some way at the moment it finds a meaning, like the meaning of a sacrifice. Growth through pain. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger, with meaning. Often it is precisely in these most difficult and painful situations that we discover our greatest inner strengths, that we are forced to reevaluate our priorities and find an even deeper and more essential meaning for life, something we might not have discovered in times of comfort. Question for when pain comes, or for a small frustration today. Given this difficulty that I cannot change, what more noble, more courageous, more constructive, and more human attitude can I choose to adopt, even if the situation itself doesn't change? Meaning is discovered, not simply invented out of nothing. It's important to emphasize that for Frankl, meaning is not something we simply invent arbitrarily to feel better. He believed that meaning is out there, in the world, in the life situations, waiting for us to discover. Our consciousness, our capacity for discernment, helps us to detect these potential meanings that each moment offers us. The power of self-transcendence. One of Viktor Frankl's most important and practical concepts for effectively filling the existential vacuum is self-transcendence. And what is this long and somewhat complicated word? It is the fundamental human capacity to go beyond oneself, to forget oneself in order to dedicate oneself to something or someone other than one's own self. It's stepping out of the excessive focus on our own problems, desires, and concerns. The paradox of happiness and self-actualization. Viktor Frankl very wisely said that the more directly we seek happiness, the more it eludes us. The more we aim for self-actualization as an end in itself, the harder it becomes. Happiness, joy, personal fulfillment, for him, are byproducts, side effects of a life lived with meaning, of a life dedicated to a cause greater than ourselves or to love for another person. Focus on the external, not excessive self-preoccupation. Whether it's a cause to fight for, a work to be done with passion and excellence, a person to love and care for, an ideal to serve. It is by forgetting ourselves for the sake of something that transcends us that we find true fulfillment and fill the emptiness. Emptiness often comes from an excessive focus on oneself, from hyper-reflection on our own feelings and dissatisfactions. The cure often is to look outwards, to the needs of the world, to the calls that life makes to us. Our last human freedom and responsibility. Reaffirming a crucial point, Viktor Frankl reminds us of our last of human freedoms, the freedom to choose our attitude in any circumstance. No one can take that from us. But this immense freedom doesn't come for free. It comes hand in hand with an equally immense responsibility. Frankl liked to say that we shouldn't so much ask, "What is the meaning of life?" but rather recognize that it is life itself that asks us questions at every moment through the situations we face. And we are responsible for giving our answers, not just with words, but with our actions, our choices, our attitudes. Life questions us, and we have to answer for our life, to life, taking responsibility for finding and realizing the potential meaning that each moment offers us. Don't wait for a divine revelation or an extraordinary event to start seeking and living a more meaningful life. Meaning often hides in small things, in daily tasks, in everyday encounters, in the choices we make every hour. Micro questions for your day. Upon waking, what does today ask of me? What small task can I perform with a little more purpose or excellence? During the day, to whom can I show love, affection, listening, or gratitude today, even in a simple way? Facing a small frustration or challenge, what is the most constructive, most dignified, most human attitude I can choose to adopt in this moment? Viktor Frankl, with his life and work, left us a legacy of indestructible hope, a true beacon for humanity. He showed us, incontestably, that no matter how dark the night, how deep the suffering, how great the apparent emptiness, the flame of our will to meaning, of our ability to find a why to live, can continue to burn, illuminating the path ahead of us. The existential vacuum does not have to be our final destiny. The therapy of meaning invites us to a continuous journey of discovery, courage, responsibility, and self-transcendence, filling our existence with purpose, meaning, and a dignity that no one can take from us, one day at a time, one choice at a time. Share your journey. What emptiness might you be feeling in your life right now? And which of the 3 paths to finding meaning proposed by Viktor Frankl most inspired you or seemed most accessible for you to start following today? Or perhaps you have a personal story of how you found meaning amidst great difficulty, a story that could inspire others. Share your reflections, your questions, your experiences here in the comments. Your journey and your voice are very important and can be a light for many who are searching. If Viktor Frankl's profound wisdom and message of hope touched you and gave you new encouragement, leave a like, share this video with everyone you think needs to hear this powerful message, and subscribe to the channel for more dives into the human soul and the search for a more meaningful life. A strong hug full of purpose. And until next time.